So, what is the long-awaited Ethereum 2.0 all about? What is proof of stake, the beacon chain, sharding, and docking? And what are the different phases of the rollouts? You'll find answers to these questions in this video. Before we begin, if you want to learn more about decentralized finance and the technology behind it, make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit the bell icon, and enable all notifications. You can also consider supporting us on Patreon and joining our community of DeFi enthusiasts. Let's start with an overview of what Ethereum 2.0 is and why it's even needed in the first place. Ethereum 2.0, aka ETH2, is a set of interconnected upgrades to the Ethereum network that aims at making Ethereum more scalable, more secure, and more sustainable. These changes are worked on by multiple different teams in the Ethereum ecosystem, each team focusing on building a specific part of the whole upgrade. Now, let's quickly go through all of the main goals of ETH2. Scalability. The current Ethereum network supports around 15 transactions per second. This becomes a limiting factor when it comes to onboarding millions of new users and launching many more decentralized applications. To make Ethereum more scalable, ETH2 aims at supporting thousands of transactions per second. One important caveat: the increase in transactions per second should not come at the cost of increasing the size of the nodes in the network. Security. Security of a decentralized network is always one of the top priorities. ETH2 aims at increasing the security of the network against all forms of attack, including a 51% attack, where someone can force through fraudulent changes by controlling the majority of the network. Sustainability. The well-known proof-of-work-based consensus model used by the current Ethereum network requires a lot of computing power and energy. ETH2 aims at making Ethereum better for the environment by replacing energy-intensive proof-of-work with proof-of-stake. Initially, the set of changes needed to achieve these goals was called Serenity, but now most people refer to it as Ethereum 2.0 or just ETH2. What is interesting is that all of these goals were pretty much always in the Ethereum roadmap, and they had been discussed even before the network officially launched. Let's start with one of the biggest changes, the consensus model shift from proof-of-work to proof-of-stake. The current Ethereum consensus model, proof-of-work, is a well-known and battle-tested approach to building cryptocurrencies. In proof-of-work, miners invest their resources, mainly electricity, to validate transactions and secure the network. This model requires massive amounts of energy to work properly and protect the network from 51% attacks. Proof-of-stake tries to address the power consumption concerns by getting rid of the miners completely. Instead of machines securing the network by investing their resources, the proof-of-stake consensus model relies on economic incentives. In proof-of-stake, users who want to secure the network stake their ETH and become validators. Each validator is incentivized to validate transactions by receiving, similarly to miners in proof-of-work, both the block reward and the transaction fees. To discourage validators from trying to game the system and validate fraudulent transactions, the proof-of-stake system implements a mechanism called slashing, where validators lose part of their staked ETH if they decide to act dishonestly. In order to pull off a successful 51% attack in a proof-of-stake system, the attacker would have to control 51% of the validators, which would require owning 51% of all staked ETH, a massive amount of capital. In order to become one of the ETH2 validators, 32 ETH is required. It is also possible to stake with less than 32 ETH by using staking pools, for example, Rocket Pool. The returns for validators depend on the amount of staked ETH in the system. They can be as high as over 18% annually if there is less than 1 million ETH staked, and as low as 1.81% or even lower if there is more than 100 million ETH in the system. Proof of Stake addresses all three of the ETH2 goals. It makes Ethereum more sustainable by removing energy-intensive miners. It makes it more secure by making a 51% attack harder, and it makes it more scalable by unlocking sharding that would be much harder to achieve in a proof-of-work model, as it would most likely result in diluting the amount of computing power across multiple shards.